Hey everybody, welcome to American Idol Unaired. I'm your host Bennett Shear, and today we are talking to another singer that you didn't see on this season of American Idol. Please welcome Raymond Salgado.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing?
I am great. I'm so pumped to talk to you. We've been talking about doing this. It was so great when you reached out. Because I've heard you before. You're so talented. I can't believe you
Thank
weren't shown on
you.
American Idol. I'm so pumped. So do you want to give everybody the official introduction here? I would love for you to fully tell everybody about
Yeah,
yourself and your journey with the show. So take it away.
right. Okay, so I'm Raymond Salgado. I'm from Vancouver Island, British Columbia. I've been singing for like pretty much over a decade of my life. I started training at the age of 10 or 11, and I've trained classically. So I used to do opera for quite some time, and I'd compete in competitions for a while, but I always loved like pop music. It was always like influenced in the house, and I always listened to it growing up. And that was sort of like the type of music that I wanted to pursue and do, especially just like R&B influence stuff as well. So I've been doing it for quite some time, performing, competing. I did a few musicals in high school, and yeah, I've just had a love for music ever since I could remember. And I remember just, I think when I was 13, or even when I was 11, when my mom put me into a talent show, I had no experience in music at all, like voice lesson wise or anything. She just kind of forced me to do it at the time because I was trying to find kind of just what my interests are. My mom would like put me into these activities like taekwondo and like basketball and all these after school activities that like never really worked out until like it came to singing. But I did do piano, and piano was the first instrument that I learned, and then I started to do singing later on after the talent show. And weirdly enough, like when I participated in the talent show, I like won in my category, and I was just kind of surprised because I was like, okay, this is like I don't like sing a lot, and I never really realized that I had something until maybe I was 13 or like going into high school and stuff, because I always thought that people were just being nice. Once I started to perform more publicly and stuff, and I was still like trying to be comfortable and just figure out this whole singing thing because I didn't really know that I had something.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, such a vast range of experiences. Because from performing at that one talent show to making it on American Idol and everything in between, music's obviously in your blood. You talked about pop. I myself, that's always my bread and
Yeah.
butter. Love pop music. So
hmm
were you approached for American Idol? Did you try it yourself? How did that all happen?
So for American Idol, I got reached out back in 2019 by Tammy B, and it was the first year that they were casting Canadians for the first time,
Mm,
because like whenever I was always curious about just auditioning and trying out, even though I was Canadian. I always saw on the website, it always would say, like, you have to be an American citizen. So I was like, oh, that sucks. Like, you
right.
know? And because there's like not much TV shows in Canada, it was kind of just like, when I know that they brought back Canada's Got Talent and stuff, but we don't have like Canadian Idol here. Like I think it got like canceled in 2009 or something like that, like really early on. So when I got told that um American Idol was like letting in Canadians, I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like that would be awesome to represent, because there's so much talent in Canada and such. So I got reached out to Tammy in 2019, and then I only did, I think, two producer rounds, but then I didn't make it to go and actually sing for the executives or sing for the judges at that time. So then I think I've pretty much been like asked to do the show like two or three times. The second time I did was I got reached out, and then because um at the time COVID was still like a huge thing, it wasn't really possible for me to go and stuff.
Mm,
So I ended up like not pulling on with this. But then 2021, and it was like early summer, I got a call from Tammy, and she's just like telling me like I've talked to the executive about you, Megan, and um you're doing well on social media. And believe it or not, like me and Lauren Spencer Smith are from the same city and stuff. So she saw a few of like my videos with Lauren and stuff because they were like really popping off at the time. And she was like, "Yeah, I feel like you really have a shot this year." And I wasn't really thinking about doing the show just because like I really was focusing on like um performing, writing, doing more um just releases on streaming platforms and stuff. So I didn't really think about competing and stuff. But I was like, I might as well give it a shot. And a lot of people on TikTok and like social media were always like telling me to try out for the show. So I was like, well, why not? Like we might as well. Like I'm getting the call, and like it seems like, Tammy really believes in me. And she was just like really supportive and really sweet. And just she made me just like want to just try it out and just go in and just hope for the best, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. So, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I realized after I asked the question about whether or not you approached or tried it yourself, I thought to myself, wait a second, there is the rule about Canadians applying. And so I guess, is it such that,
yeah.
would you have been able, if you wanted to try out yourself as a Canadian, or would you have to have only been reached out to since you're not from the US?
Um, I think you can put in your application. Like, I think it was much easier just because like I was scouted out online and stuff.
Right.
And so I think there was that consideration because they do look for, people on social media. I think they have like different like scouting
Mm-hmm.
for different like platforms and such, like the online one and then like social media. So I think that I was very lucky with that because then when I went through the audition process this time, like the third time, I only had to do like two calls with them. And
Mm-hmm.
then the second call was with Megan. And it's crazy because I just remember stressing out because I was just like, there's not enough time. Like, I remember doing my first call, and Tommy was like, yeah, so like, we're thinking of like doing your audition like tomorrow or like the next day. I'm like, can I have like a week or
Oh my
something?
God.
Because I'm such a perfectionist when it comes to um, just my singing, like technique wise, finding the right songs and then cutting it together because you're supposed to sing like 90 seconds of the song, right? You don't sing the whole song. So I was like, okay, like maybe a week, and
Right.
stuff. So um yeah. And then so it came to the audition with Megan, and I was really like intimidated, of course, because it was the executive, and I was kind of like scared too and stuff just because I didn't know how to like come about with it. I just wanted to come and present the best self to Megan. And um, but yeah, it was kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie. I was just like, okay, producers of American Idol, a show that I grew up watching, like are watching me right now, and we just gotta, just do our best and stuff. And on the same day, they basically were like, yeah, we're gonna give you a shot this year, and I was like over the moon. And I didn't expect them to say yes. I was just like, oh wow, like that's so cool. Like I'm actually getting to go and sing for the judges because I auditioned back in 2018 or 2019, and like those that didn't work out, but I was like, wow, like this could be my shot, and I was just like so stoked to meet other contestants. And um just because like I don't know, I live in a very small city and stuff, and at that time I guess COVID really affected everybody. So like I haven't been out of the city for a while, and so like when I got to go to Austin, Texas, um to audition, I was just like really pumped to meet a lot of other amazing talented people.
Yeah. One thing I find interesting because you do have quite a following on social media, and obviously that helped
Yeah,
with the scouting process, is you have so many people telling you, "You're great. I love your videos. You're so talented." And I'm one of those people. I admit. I found your
oh,
page, and
thank you.
um, but when you enter that arena, you get to Austin, you see all these other contestants, and you don't know. I mean, some of them could be like you, big following. Others, barely do anything on social media. We live in such an interesting time where
Yeah,
kind of regardless of the following you have, it kind of goes away in that moment, I think, because now it doesn't matter how many followers you have, how many likes or comments you get. All of a sudden, right, it all comes down to you competing against anybody, no matter where they come from or how many followers they have.
yeah. No, it's so true. And I mean, like, I'm a very introverted person. It's weird because I think music is definitely and performing has definitely helped me sort of open up more when I'm performing and just in general with talking to people. But when I was there, I'm not gonna lie, like I was overwhelmed when I like landed and stuff, and I was just like, okay. And I was really happy though to know that like I think there was it was like me, Ishan, Rachel, and Cameron, and we like auditioned in Austin. All of us auditioned in Austin, and we're from the same province. And I was like, and I didn't know that Rachel was auditioning too. And she it's so funny because I reached out to her like a couple of times on TikTok, and I didn't know she lived in Vancouver. And I was like, oh, we should meet up one day, like blah blah blah. And then like she comes up to me in the airport and she's like, I'm like, oh my God, Rachel, what's up? What are you doing? She's like, I'm auditioning for Idol. And I'm like, oh my gosh, wait a second. That's so
Wow.
crazy. Like, I didn't know that you were auditioning. And then I knew that Ishan was because me and Ishan were talking on the phone and just like supporting each other while we were doing like the exact auditions. But I didn't know that Cameron Whitcomb was auditioning. And so I was like, that's crazy to me. And like it made me feel a little bit more comfortable, but I'm not gonna lie, I was like super uncomfortable and like intimidated. Um and but the crazy thing, like on like the topic of social media and stuff, it was crazy because like I said, I have never really like done a lot in that, I guess, time of COVID and everything because everything was just shut down and it was hard to put yourself out there, right?
Yeah.
But I remember like just patiently waiting for the shuttle at the airport and just like Mariel like was he like recognized me like on the get-go and he was just like, wait a second, are you like from TikTok and stuff? I'm like, yeah. And I was just like kind of like I cause I from I guess where did I fly from? I flew from like Vancouver all the way to Austin and it was like a pretty long flight because by the time I got there it was already like almost evening there or like early evening. But and I was just like so exhausted. I was like, okay, like day zero is tomorrow. I have so much to think about. I just want to eat, I want to rest
Right.
and stuff. And then he came up to me and he was just so sweet and like, a few other contestants too recognized me and were so supportive and like I said, like I always get so um I get really shy when it comes to new people and stuff. So it was just like really nice to be in an environment where everybody was like, you know, passionate about music and um just everyone was just really sweet and it felt like music camp to me, honestly. Like it really just felt nice to be in an environment of just being able to be creative and passionate and just to know one another just because I haven't been in like an environment like that in a long time. Because like the last time I've been in an environment was probably in high school.
Hmm.
And ever since after high school, I haven't been with a group of people. There's something just really magical when you like are with a group of people. It's just um there's something just very magical with that. And I think that was like one of like the highlights definitely was just getting to know and make these lifelong friendships that I'll never forget.
Wow. No, it is camp. I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard so many contestants talk about that. I think it's also really important to note one more thing about the social media thing because again, it's like no matter how many followers you do have, I mean, we're all human beings, so maybe this sort
Yeah.
of perception that oh, you have X number of followers, that means you're going to be super extroverted. Everybody
Right.
knows you, so like, oh, hey, I'm Raymond. How's it going? What's up? You can still be this shy person, and you're a human
Yeah.
being. It's like it doesn't. The one thing doesn't have to
Hmm.
do with the other, you know.
Yeah, I know for sure. And like I think it is surprising because like I think that a lot of people have that idea like once you have a platform and you're, singing to thousands of people and stuff, it's like people expect you to be outgoing, but I'm really depending on the situation and depending on like just how comfortable I am, I'm not really outgoing and stuff. Like I'm very reserved,
Hmm.
and stuff. But, I have my moments where I just let loose and I just like have fun, It's just one of those things where automatically, in that situation and not being comfortable yet, I it takes me time to really just breathe and just like I guess recognize the atmosphere that I'm in, before I just let loose. So that experience I didn't expect for it to be so fast paced as well because day zero was just like a long day and then audition day was like day one, right? So there's just like so much that was happening that I didn't expect, but then I just tried to make the best out of like the whole experience and um just tried to get to know like a lot of people. So yeah.
That being in that atmosphere, I think that is what helps you let loose because you're around other musicians, like you said, being at music camp essentially. There are other people that are like you that have the same passion. You're comfortable around them because they also make music, you know. Really
Hmm.
quickly as well, people who listen to this podcast, they've heard many contestants talk about Day Zero. Any new listeners that we may get just from your platform, I would love if you could explain
Yeah.
what Day Zero is to any new listeners.
So on day zero, you basically do like interviews with a lot of the just camera and like cameraman and like a lot of the behind the scenes. Like you have rehearsal with Fredly, and Fredly is like very lovely guy to work with. It was such a pleasure, just especially like knowing what and who he's worked with, especially like, knowing that he's like toured with Bruno Mars. Like what that like really blew my mind and stuff. But yeah, it was just like mostly interviews um and just doing a lot of like camera work stuff. And I remember going into like this room and it had like this big sort of like a big sign that says like a moment like this. And
Mm-hmm.
that was the first room that it was in. I don't know, you probably are like recognize the room and stuff. But like that was the first room that I went into and like they kind of like made me dance and I'm not really like a dancer at all. And stuff was like, who? Like it was like I don't know, so early in the morning, because like we have to get up for that, right? So I woke up like 4:30 for day zero, and then my call time was 6:15 and stuff. But the reason why we woke up early was because some people are put in like different hotels. So like the hotel that I was staying at was like the Sinesta, and the Sinesta was kind of connected to where we were filming essentially for the show. So I was like, okay, the first day won't be as bad, but I was like, little, like we had to like repack as soon as we got comfortable and we thought we were staying in the hotel. We are like, we had a call and we're like, yeah, so like you guys are gonna have to like pack and you're gonna be put in another hotel after day zero. I'm like, okay, great. So yeah, it was just very long, but um I don't know, I was just like very quiet for the most part because at that time I was struggling with like a cough.
Mm.
And so I was like trying to be like very um careful with my voice just to preserve my voice. But um I talked to quite a lot of people there and but yeah, no, I was just like still trying to process everything because everything was happening so fast that I was like, I can't believe I'm here. I'm actually doing this because I've always wanted to do this my whole life. And I'm not gonna lie, it was really intimidating, like just seeing everybody around me, and I was like, wow, there's just so many of us in this room. And like you were saying with the whole thing with like social media and it doesn't matter if you have a following stuff, like you're competing against like all these amazing talented people that the producers scouted and casted. So yeah, I was like really um just hard to think about, but I was just like trying to ground myself and trying to just like, you know what, I'm here for a reason. They chose me for a reason out of like 100,000 people, and only 300 people got chosen to audition for like the show. And like, I didn't even know it was that much. And I was just like mind blown by that too, because I was like, that's a lot of people that auditioned for open call. But yeah, I mean, like we did the interviews and then it was just like taking some pictures for promo. And then I think the highlight of that was, um, yeah, just getting to know people and then working with Fredly and doing rehearsal with Fredly because I was like, when are we actually gonna sing? Because that's where
Right,
that's what I'm here to do is to sing
right.
and stuff. So, because I was just like, I don't know, I was like really like, okay, when are we gonna sing? Because I would love to rehearse my songs and stuff. So, yeah, that was just like really straightforward. Very long day. We went home around 3, 4 o'clock, and then after I went in the hotel and relaxed for a bit, I was like, okay, I'm gonna hang out with people in the hotel and just like get to know people because I might as well because you never know, right? And
Hmm.
stuff. And I'm glad I took the time to get to know as much people as I can. And a lot of people there, like especially in the hotel and even at the venue, once we started to get really comfortable with each other, which wasn't even that long, um, there were so many like jam circles and stuff. Like there's a video of it that I put because I posted about like my experience on American Idol and stuff. And there's like a video of us just like singing Home by Philip Phillips and stuff.
Oh,
And we were like all jamming and harmonizing together. I was like, this is so cool.
oh.
Like I'm living for this moment. It's so nice. Like it was such um a very nice moment to just like jam. It's always a nice time to jam out with people, but it was just like so magical, honestly. Like I really just wish I could just relive that moment again because that was like such an awesome feeling just being able to like have fun, and getting to work with amazing people.
Again, you haven't even gotten to your audition yet, and you're already having quite a wild ride, it sounds like. So I want to hear what day you auditioned if you remember, and we'll talk about that
Yeah.
too.
So um what day was that? That was like literally the day after day zero, so basically day one.
Mm.
So yeah, so day one was when I auditioned, and um I was like put in number 6 or 7. Um but I just remember it being so hot that day. Like it was early. That was one thing. And I was like, okay, warming up, because you never know if you're gonna be like put to sing at any time, right? They could really change that, right? And I think that was one thing that I wish I knew going into the show, that it was going to be fast paced and you had to just prepare yourself for anything to come because that's TV and everything changes all the time. I know that a lot of people that were put later on got put like near the front. So it was just like, oh my gosh, like that's insane to me. And like it's literally just like a last minute thing where they just somebody will come and get you like, yeah, you're singing and
Mm.
stuff. So, but I just remember it being so humid that day. And it was pretty chill for the most part. I mean, I arrived at the venue, I was just like, okay, today's the day, like it's all or nothing, and I'm just gonna bring it, whatever happens, happens for a reason. And pretty much I went to do some filming like at 2 spots first before I actually got to like audition and like meet the judges. So we did like some shots with my mom and I down near like the the waterfront and stuff where they shot like that one of the opening scenes for
Mm-hmm.
in Austin, Texas and stuff. So we did some shots there. Um and then we went into the 360 room as well. And that was so cool. I loved that experience
Yeah.
going into the 360 room. That it was so nice seeing my family there because as much as I would love to see like my family come and support me, like that's not possible and stuff. So like I'm glad that I had my mom with me
Mm-hmm.
through like the whole process of it because I really don't wouldn't know what I'd be doing in my hotel.
Oh.
I'd probably just be like freaking out and I'm like, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm here. I made it this far. So, but I'm such a family oriented person, so it did make me emotional and but it was really nice to see like my family before I got to audition because just like the whole process of getting to audition was kind of hectic and stuff, just with like timing to like figuring out songs and figuring out everything. And then in that moment, I was like trying to make sure I just enjoy as much as I can, because this is like once in a lifetime and this doesn't happen to everybody. So I just tried to really just enjoy as much as I can. Um, and little did I know by that point, like after I did 360, because it was just a lot of waiting. It was just waiting and waiting and waiting and hearing things. And I heard like um from a producer, like, oh, we're having lunch now. I'm like, okay, maybe like I'll have a break. I'll get to warm up, get to run over my songs. Everything's gonna be chill. But then a producer just comes out of nowhere and it's like, yeah, so you're like auditioning now and you have your interview with Ben Seacrest. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, okay. So I was like, great. Oh my gosh, this is happening. Okay, wow. And so I was like, I haven't had time to like rehearse my songs like on that day. I only just did like a little bit of warm up that day softly and drinking as much water because like I said, I was dealing with a cough and stuff. And it was such a dry climate. So I was like, okay, minimal talking, drinking lots of water, all of that stuff, right? Warming up and trying not to like stay so much in the sun, which like thankfully we didn't because I know some people that like stayed under the sun for hours and I was like, wow, like I feel so bad that you have to stay in the sun for that long and
Hmm.
stuff because it's heat for singers or anything like that, it's just the worst. Like
Mm.
singing the heat is not good for your voice. So um lucky that wasn't my situation. But yeah, like I remember just like being so I was nervous, but I was weirdly comfortable because I think at that point of just everything that's happened and like I was dealing with a lot emotionally and there was just so much like in my head that I wish I just should have just like let go a little bit. But that in that moment I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm already here. Like I'm gonna do my best and whatever happens, happens. And it's not, the end of the world if I get told no. So I had my interview with Ryan Seacrest and he's literally the same on and off camera and like I swear his skin is like milk. It's so smooth and stuff. And I was like, this is crazy. And also like I didn't know that he was like I'm not saying he was like short and stuff, but I didn't think he would be like around almost the same height. Like he's like obviously like a little bit taller than me, but I expected him to be like taller,
Uh-huh.
but I was like, so it kind of caught me off guard a little bit, but I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually talking to you. Like, this is so cool, because I've,
Wow.
watched him forever. And yeah, he was just so nice and just really, um, yeah, just asking me the questions and stuff. And it was, it was just really surreal at that point because, like, okay, I'm like getting to actually finally get to audition. And that's something that I've wanted my whole life, is to audition for American Idol. And yeah, just like meeting Ryan Seacrest, I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like I like shook his hand. And my mom was with me. It was so funny because like my mom, I think like the cameraman, even like before we started to go on day one, and we were like um just in like this room, like what do you call it? We were in this room and it was like, yeah, day one. And this was before like everyone was like filming and like getting into their places for auditions and stuff. But like some of the producers were like saying like, yeah, don't like touch or hug the celebrities and stuff. But then I was so like surprised that my mom got to hug Ryan, and I was like, I'm jealous. I should have asked for a hug. Honestly, I should have asked for a hug. But like, I mean, I got to shake his hand and stuff, and it was just like it was a really nice moment. But it was so funny though. I was like, that's so funny.
What'd you guys talk
Um,
about? I'm really
that
curious.
yeah, we basically talked about like just what my story was, and growing up like being Filipino, what that was like. I was actually talking about Jessica Sanchez, who Philip Phillips was like against Jessica
Hmm.
Sanchez like that time. I don't know what year that was, but I was just talking about how inspired I was like seeing a Filipino um basically uh just do so well in on American Idol, just because like I haven't, and like there wasn't a lot of Asian representations growing up at the time. And when I saw Jessica Sanchez, it made me want to audition for the show,
Mm.
on the get-go, especially like her being Filipino, um, and such, and just the powerhouse that she was and she is, she really just inspired me to audition for the show, honestly. Because I just remember just being like, I'm gonna be like her one day,
Yeah.
and to just like finally get the chance to talk to Ryan about just myself and like to perform in front of the judges. I was just like, wow, this is like really, really an opportunity, like just like once in a lifetime, and never did I think in like a million years I'd ever like get that shot to audition. So yeah, it was just like really, really chill, like me and Ryan's conversation before. And it made me like feel more comfortable. And I think that's like why when I went into the audition, of course I was nervous, but I was very like, I got this in the bag. I'm gonna sing my heart out and I'm gonna do the best that I can. And whatever happens, happens,
Mm.
you know?
So
Hmm.
walking into those doors, I feel like, you're like it's game time. I mean, you've gotten comfortable. Ryan was a big part of that. You walk in that
Yeah.
room, and what's your reaction to seeing the judges' faces?
It threw me off so much because I think a lot of people have talked about this on your show and stuff. Because as soon as I walked in, I was like, the lighting on their faces and just like going up to like my mark, that oval
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. Like I just noticed like their face is so well lit, like Katie looking like a pixie fairy, and stuff, looking gorgeous as ever. And like Luke and Lionel looking so fresh too. And I was just like, it kind of like threw me off because I was just like, are these like the real judges or like because they looked different, but
Yeah.
like I knew it was them. So it was just like throwing me off a little. I was just like, okay, what's happening? But it was just like the lighting, I think, and like the makeup that they were using. And then also the fact that they were mic'd up. So then you heard them through like different parts of the room.
Mm-hmm.
So that threw me off too. But I was like, I mean, it's not like they're gonna shout all the way across
Yeah.
the room and stuff. So that makes sense why they'd be mic'd up. But it just really threw me off because like all I heard was like a voice and it was like Lionel's voice, and I was like, wait,
Yeah.
where's that coming from? So yeah, it was just like banter, getting to know me, my story, and then like getting into my songs. And um I felt really comfortable with just answering the questions like, where are you from? What are your influences? Um, how long have you been singing? That type of thing. And that surprised me because I was like kind of hoping that I would probably like get really thrown off and really nervous about just being able to um I guess being like what do you call it? I was nervous on the fact of just like making sure that the answers that I was saying to them made sense. Because
Hmm.
whenever it comes to interviews or auditions or anything, I tend to like freeze up sometimes and I'm like a deer in headlights. So I'm surprised that I got through that and answered well and just like made sure that I was listening correctly to what they were saying, because sometimes I do rush. So, um, so yeah, I got into my first song and I sang Fire on Fire by Sam Smith. And I felt like with everything that I put into that performance, not being warmed up, you know, and just not going through my songs that day, um, and just having what I had that morning, I was like, you know what? I got through that performance and I was pretty like happy about it. And so I sang two songs. So it was Fire and Fire and In My Blood. But the first after I sang the first song, um, Katie says something and she's like, I don't know what to feel about you. Like, do you have another song? And like it really threw me off. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, oh no.
Mm.
Like I was like so like scared. I was like, oh no, like what does she think? And I'm like, okay, well, hopefully the second song goes well. And I did In My Blood by Shawn Mendes. And then they had their basically their critiques to say. And all the judges were very um I guess they really made clear that I had a voice and that it's obvious that I can sing. But unfortunately, and this is like the one thing that I wish with like my songs that I sang and auditioned with, that they felt more of an impact and felt gravitated. And I feel like, that was the thing that I was like really hoping for, like when I sang these songs, was to find the right songs and stuff. But in that moment, they just didn't feel like gravitated towards like, I guess my songs, or just I don't know what it was really. So Lionel really appreciated like the technique of my voice and was very like, yeah, like you have really great technique when it comes to singing and stuff, but we just wanted to like feel more. And um Katie was also like, I just feel like right now it's not the right time for you. Um and you need 2 years, and that she thought it would be too big of a bridge for me to cross right now, which I was like, okay, like, um, because like I think the whole purpose of American Idol is like they don't look for people that are like well-rounded, already. Like there's always gonna be like corners and edges that need to be, smoothed out. And so I was like, okay, I'll take that constructive criticism. Um, Luke was like kind of saying the same thing too, and like agreed that I needed more experience with um just performing and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. It was just like something that um just like hearing it and stuff, like it's like really hard to face rejection, especially
Yeah.
when it comes to like, you know, being on a reality TV show. Um and I really just did my best to stay strong and just just take what they said. I think one thing that Katie did say that was sort of like it's kind of weird because a lot of their comments were very vague, but like in general. you know? Like it was just like you need more experience. But like one thing that Katie said that sort of stuck out to me, and I sort of, I guess, understand what she was saying was to be the unexpected, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so I sort of understand what that meant. And I don't know, and just like thinking about everything that I did and like what they said and everything, as much as I didn't get a golden ticket, you know, I think that day overall really kind of turned um my head around when it came to confidence because and not in a negative way. Like of course I was very upset, and like I was very sad and it took me a little bit to process what happened. American Idol, like getting that rejection really like showed me my validation and my potential and like my talent that I have been struggling to give myself credit for like over a decade because as soon as I started singing, I always was unsure of my gifts and I wasn't really aware and giving myself credit, And I've had moments in my life where like um even just in high school too, like I had moments where like, yeah, I'm good enough, but then most of the time I was just very insecure. But like in that moment, it just like that rejection made me want to push more,
Mm-hmm.
and just continue. And like Lionel, so like both the judges, Katie and Luke said no, but Lionel was the last one to say yes. And I think he said yes as like a to keep going and keep doing what I'm doing and stuff. Um, because I think it was very obvious to him that he saw potential in me and that like made me feel really good, you know? Um, but yeah, I don't know. It was really like hard for me
Mm.
though. Like it was really hard to face that because I mean I think um I really wanted to move forward in the competition, you know. I was already having so much fun meeting all these like incredible people and I didn't want it to end. And I think like when it comes to like those types of experiences of meeting incredible people and being in an atmosphere where you're basically doing what you love, like of course you don't want it to end,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So that like really hit me hard. But um I think I've really um grown ever since that audition. And, whether that was like my song choices or like my story, whatever it was, I felt like I did the best that I could in that, like on that day, and that's all what matters at the end of the day is um doing the best that I could. Because I mean, if I didn't do my best, then I'd kind of regret that, But the fact that I went in there and I said to myself, I'm gonna give 110%, and whatever happens, happens, then that's more than enough,
Yeah.
And I mean, I won an experience that a lot of people don't get, especially being Canadian. And there was only like maybe 6 to 7 of us that got the opportunity to audition like for season 20. So it was like a huge deal because a majority was just like American contestants, and we were only like 6 out of 7 Canadians. So I was like, that's a huge accomplishment in itself. So that was like one thing that I like really tried to like remember that I got chosen for a reason, and that, you know, it's not the end of the world, and that there's always a reason to why things don't work out the way that it does, So um I think overall though, like I really just learned to be grateful for the overall experience because as much as I wanted a better outcome, it like taught me I really learned a lot and it taught me just um to keep going, because the fact that I was putting a risk of just putting myself out there and singing in front of like, these superstar celebrities, um, not a lot of people can do that. So I think that was like one thing that I could really just um, overall appreciate and just be grateful and thankful for, is having the opportunity to just share my story and perform for them, which I really enjoyed because I haven't enjoyed performing as much as until I went to sing in front of the judges because I was like dealing with a lot. So at that time, like it was just kind of one of those things where I was like, I can't believe that I did that, but I did it.
It's been not only has it been a long time since the auditions aired. I mean, the season ended as we're speaking, probably almost like 6 weeks ago now. Auditions aired February, March, and then you're filming this. Gosh, it's been several months now. Do you think if you and I were having
Mm-hmm.
this conversation shortly after the auditions, let's say we were talking November, December, would you have been able to draw these conclusions that soon after? Do you think you needed that time to process?
I think I needed a little bit more time to process just because, I think it's normal to be upset and maybe to be a little bit, I don't know, maybe even bitter about it, kind of, because like I think at the end of the day, like, you want to do your best and um you want to do well,
Yeah.
and stuff. And like us musicians and as entertainers, we face rejection all the time. So it's one of those things where it sort of comes with it when you're putting yourself out there, and like life is filled with rejections and all of that stuff. But we learn from them and like we grow from them. And I've definitely grown since that time, vocally and just confidence wise, as I was telling you that, because before, um, I wasn't giving myself enough credit, even with like the following that I have and that I'm grateful for, and like recognizing now and being thankful, and all of the accolades that I've managed to accomplish and I'm grateful for. Even through that, like there was moments where I just never gave myself proper credit, but then for some reason that rejection just really put me in another light where I was like, you know what? I may have not gotten it this time, but I'm gonna get it next time. And it showed me like my potential and my worth and the talent that I was, that I worked hard for and that was given to me. And um, I don't think that if I auditioned that like I wouldn't be the person currently like where I am right now just with my confidence. Just because it's like really important to be confident in yourself and your craft and like know who you are. And I think that that's one thing I can really just be thankful for, was to um just experience something that really taught me to just go with the flow and just accept like what happened and move forward um and um just be grateful and thankful, so I mean, I can say now that I'm very happy with what I did,
Hmm.
and even if the judges didn't feel like gravitated towards my voice or like the songs or whatever it was, I'm just glad that I was able to like put myself out there, and being able to just go for it, and I think that just is a huge win in itself to just have that overall experience. So I'm really really happy with where I'm at and like what happened, and I've learned to accept what has happened, and now I'm just ready to move on and um pursue and keep pursuing bigger and more experience and more opportunities that are coming my way.
I think you definitely push yourself out of your comfort zone with this show because, having the talent obviously to have gotten recruited for this show essentially, the talent was there from the beginning, but it's interesting because no matter how big of a following you had, or no matter how many years you've been singing, you're either, singing in your room and posting things, or you're, performing on stages without the cameras and the lights. So now to go from a much more intimate setting that you're used to on a regular basis to American Idol, I'm sure that that's maybe one of the more challenging elements of what you did here.
Oh, definitely 100%. And like now that I think about it, I was just like it is different, especially the fact that I wasn't performing as much at the time because of COVID too. And a lot of people were, not performing. So it was like, okay, I'm gonna have to, be in front of cameras and, communicate and like show myself in a different way than just like pressing record and like having good lighting and just singing my heart out. It was such a different atmosphere and a different feeling, so yeah, it was a lot, like I said, like I wish like I knew that it was going to be fast paced because I think at that time too I was just so overwhelmed with so many emotions that I didn't know how to feel too. But like now that I processed everything and that I've experienced it, I could say that it was so worth it. It was
Yeah.
really worth it. And you know I've also like definitely considered like auditioning, and I even told Ryan like coming out like yeah, like I'm so not opposed to like coming back and auditioning again and stuff. So especially the fact that Katie was like come back in 2 years, like be the unexpected, and then just I mean the fact that they mainly acknowledged my voice and stuff, like that made me feel really good, and that I was headed and that I'm heading into the right direction because that's really what I've been working on is my voice, and I've been working on my voice for over a decade now. So um, I really took and tried to take everything as I can, but everything was such a blur too because it was like maybe 8 minutes, like
Yeah.
8, 10 minutes, right? So everything was like go, 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 go and stuff. And it was like filled in with like the banter, like the little jokes, me singing, getting critiqued, singing again, and then like the whole critiques again, and then deliberation and stuff. So yeah, there was just a lot going on. But I feel like, if I ever do go back, to like American Idol or any like reality TV show, that like I have an idea of what I'll be going into and stuff, and it will definitely feel a lot more easier, and I'll definitely be at ease and um more comfortable. But for what it was worth though, I was just really surprised how I got through a lot of that because I mean, like I said, like auditioning and doing reality TV shows in general are just like they're nerve-wracking. There's so many cameras, so many people that are working behind the scenes, you know, and that can be a lot for some people, and some people can't do that. So like being able to do that and like to just like make it through that, I was like, wow, I got through that all. So I'm really proud of myself for that, for sure.
Yeah, I uh, I want to ask because I'm surprised. I've only really talked to I think one other person about this, but one thing also
Yeah.
that we don't really see when you're in the audition room is the line of producers that are sitting in the corner that's not on camera. So did it phase you at all to have that as well? Because that's another part of the atmosphere where you've got all these other people behind the
Yeah.
scenes watching.
Yeah, it did. I mean, like the fact that there was just so many people just working behind the scenes and it didn't really I knew there was going to be a lot of people involved, but then the day of and such, it was just crazy, just so many people around me. And just even waiting in the audition room, like the small room with like a few of the contestants and stuff, and like even seeing like the screens too, because you got to see like kind of peek through it and stuff. Like they were kind of like very protective over the screens and
Yeah.
stuff, but like I got to see a little bit of like what it would look like being there and stuff. Cause I got the meeting with Patrick, right, about like where to stand and everything and what it would look like. But it was just like, overall just very, yeah, just mind blowing and just an experience I'll never forget. And yeah, just it was definitely intimidating, but I weirdly got really comfortable because when it came to answering my questions and just like singing my songs, I was like, okay, I got this. I'm gonna be fine. I made it this far already. Like, let's not like fuck this up,
Yeah.
and stuff. Like this is once in a lifetime, and like I'm already doing my thing, and I've been doing this for quite some time, so there's no reason for me to be nervous. But of course, it's normal getting nervous, especially singing for like Katy Perry, Lionel Richie, with Brian, you know. So it is intimidating 100%, but I think like because I've been performing for quite some time and it was just three of them, I was like, okay, well, it's not that bad. Because if it was like 810,000 people, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's scary, you know,
Right.
and stuff. So the fact that it was just three people and like a few producers, I was like, okay, I got this. I'm just gonna sing my heart out, it's not foreign to me and everything will be fine. And that's what I walked into telling myself. And you know what the weird thing is though, is that I feel like sometimes we know when you're gonna get like when it's not gonna be your day, and stuff. And like I to be honest, I kind of had a feeling. Like it was weird because I never usually have these feelings and stuff. But I was just kind of like maybe, and not because like I wasn't not confident in my voice and like my craft and everything. I think that like sometimes we just have a feeling where like we're just in an atmosphere in a room and we're just like, oh, today maybe is not the day, but that's okay, and it's gonna be okay. And I don't know, it was just one of those like experiences too where I was like, I've never really experienced that until that moment where I was like, yeah, um, you know, you're not gonna get it this time, but it's okay though. And I've really been very just really good with how I've been feeling. And I took the time to really process everything. And now like I'm doing a lot of like things with music that I'm really excited for. So I'm like really focusing on that. But like I said, if it does come again where I get asked to audition for American Idol or, Canada's Got Talent, whatever, then, like let's do it. So
Yeah. You
yeah.
you you mentioned that, it could have been more overwhelming considering there were only a few people, not 800, 10,000 people. As a
Yeah.
singer, and I know we've talked a lot about you as a singer, as a
Yes.
performer, do you see yourself with aspirations of one day selling out huge crowds, being on big stages, performing in front of tons and tons of people?
Yeah, I really do. I do see myself doing that because I mean, I know that social media is like a huge different thing where you're sitting in front of a screen and like doing live streams and stuff and talking to people, and that's a little bit more like more easier than like witnessing it and like living through it through like the crowd and who you're singing for. But because I've been singing and performing and competing, I felt like and I feel like um performing and singing and putting myself out there is my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I really just don't know what I'd be doing because it's given me a voice, it's given me validation to speak my truth. And I don't know if it wasn't for music, I don't know where I'd be honestly. And I'd probably be more shy,
Yeah.
So music definitely like opened me up in so many ways. And yeah, it is intimidating though. And like I think it's one of those things where like you kind of have to decide whether you're just gonna be like recording artists and like maybe just performing in front of the camera and doing little things, or you're gonna like put both feet in and like go full force and like perform for thousands of people. But um yeah, like because I think like the scariest thing that I did was like singing the national anthem for like a hockey game, and it was like national TV, and that was the biggest thing that I did. Like, thank God though there wasn't much people in the stadium as like I'd because the fact that COVID was still a thing, but the fact that I knew that this was like stream live and so many people are watching. I was like, okay, like this is scary. This is so scary. And I actually did a show in Canada, and it was called The Launch or
Uh-huh.
whatever, and I was on
Yeah,
season one of
I
that
watched that.
in Canada. Yeah, and um that was also like one of the reasons why where I was like, you know what, I did like The Launch, so like it'll probably be similar to American Idol, but like there was just so much more in depth with that. But it was similar to just like the whole in doing interviews and like the hectic schedule and stuff. But I honestly do feel like because I am now um going into recording and being in my element and just being eager to perform, because actually it's so funny. So like with things happening for a reason, like on that topic, I was dealing with a cough, and I ended up losing my voice like in February or March, but like near the end of 2021, my voice was already like going really um just like it was just not in a really good place, you know?
Mm.
I think like I was overworked and like I was dealing a lot emotionally and stuff. And like I think a lot of people don't realize this. Like once you're emotionally going through something, and you're, dealing with things physically and mentally, that really does take a toll on your instrument because that's the human voice, right? So near the end of like the year, like I started to like notice a change in my voice. And then I lost my voice. I couldn't sing for 2 to 3 months, like from like late February to like April. And then
Wow.
May I started to sing a little bit more, but it wasn't there until now, and my voice is starting to finally be in its full form and stuff. So I haven't been singing and performing for a while, and now like that I'm doing this podcast and getting to sing more. I just did a wedding last week. It feels really great to start being in my element and being comfortable again. But I'm not gonna lie, like doing the wedding and like doing this, like it's just so weird. Like honestly, because I honestly didn't think I would get better, but like I'm just really glad that I got to meet you and like do this interview and
Ah,
like tell my story to people, with people and stuff.
dude, the pleasure has been all mine talking to you. I mean, first of all, it's got to be so good for you to get to sing again. I mean, that must be. I mean,
Yeah.
it's what you do. It's your life, and it's got to be good for the mind and the soul. Everything. Like, I'm sure that adjustment. I'm sure that there's growing pains. It's a little nerve wracking having not done something for a while that requires relying on your voice to work. But you're here, you're doing it, you're killing it. I think,
Thank
even if
you.
you have roadblocks, it's all about how you keep going, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, and I want to hear you sing. We're gonna get to hear you sing. I can't let you go without singing,
Yes.
but really quickly though, or not quickly. I don't know. Maybe we'll see how long this takes.
Yeah.
I just wanna I want to ask you what your advice would be for anybody listening who may want to try out for American Idol or even another competition
Yeah.
show, because you've been there, you've done it. What do you have to say?
Yeah. You know, I think that just even applying for the show and stuff is a huge step, you know. I think like my advice to people who audition, especially Canadians, because it is a really hectic process when you are um, you know, basically a foreigner and stuff.
Yeah.
So I know that like if I were to make it and stuff on the show, like there's a visa that you essentially pay for, but then they reimburse you and stuff. So if anybody's wondering about that, then like you do get reimbursed and stuff. But it is a very hectic process because once you get a golden ticket, then from there you have to send in your application, and like it's like a lot of money, but then they at least American Idol does cover that. So that's one thing to look out for anybody who like gets to audition in front of the judges and makes it really far. Then like that's one thing I will say that Cameron and Lauren had to deal with. So um and Ishan as well. So yeah, I would say just like go in with like no expectations. Just like have fun with it. And I know that's like as cheesy as that sounds, like I feel like once you're just like not in your head about it, then like, you have the best time regardless of what the outcome is, you know? And I just really try to enjoy meeting and experiencing the just the audition process and meeting new people and like just being there. And it was pretty much like a free trip, like,
Yeah.
getting flown out and like being in a hotel for a couple of days, meeting new people, singing with new people, getting connections, meeting like the crew and stuff. It was incredible, like honestly. So I would say just like go in with no expectations and just like you want to be ready to take that risk though too. It does take a lot, like you really want to like sort of like be ready to perform, but then again, like even when I did the audition for Idol or like even the launch, like I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm ready. Like,
Yeah.
so it's okay to like doubt yourself too. So like just put on an audition because you never know. And that could really change your life, and stuff. Cause I know it's changed many people's lives, being on American Idol and being on TV shows and stuff. So um just put yourself out there and just whatever happens, happens. And I think one thing too is just like make sure you're really good on song choices as well. And make sure you have like backups too. Cause I noticed like when I was going through the process of song selection, to be honest, like when I was told that I was gonna sing In My Blood, they didn't choose it for me. I chose it for myself, but I had to pick through like a list because they have like a clearance list of songs. But the thing is, was like I wanted to sing like some songs that I guess weren't able to clear and stuff. And so like, you really have to have backups just in case,
Right.
because I know some people, it was crazy. Some people like they changed their song the day before the audition, or they had to write an original song
Wow.
on like, and I was like, I'm glad that wasn't me.
Yeah.
And I feel so bad.
Oh,
Like, because if that was me, I'd just be freaking out. I'm like, haha, you're funny. Like, that's a good one, you know, and stuff. But damn, like, it's just one of those things that you just have to prepare yourself. Like, I think for this show, it's like one of those things where you have to be mentally prepared for anything to happen. And you need to be uh, like emotionally stable for this type of thing too, as it's very hectic and it could be a lot for somebody's emotional and mental health, and it is a very draining process too because it's really busy and stuff. So that's one thing that I will say that like I wish I sort of because I did have an idea and I asked so many people that auditioned for the show and that I'm friends with that auditioned for the show like what their process is like and how it was, so I think that that's one thing that I wish like I would just like let go, like just go with the flow, whatever happens happens, and just like give 110%,
yeah.
and you never know, like it could really change your life. So yeah.
Are you working on original music? Is that in the cards and anytime soon or?
Yes, so I've started writing with a couple of collaborators, and I'm planning to release a few cover songs that like have gone um like songs that I've sang on TikTok that have gone viral and stuff, just so I can like bring my fan base to streaming services and stuff and let them know like I have original songs out already, but like I want to drive them more into my streaming um platforms when it comes to like iTunes and like Spotify, Amazon, YouTube Music, all of that stuff. So I'm gonna be releasing a few covers that have gone viral for me on TikTok, and I'm planning to release a lot of singles, original singles and stuff. So I'm looking forward to doing that because I haven't been in a creative mindset in place for a while, especially like just like getting over getting sick and like not having a voice to sing. So that was really hard. So now that I'm in a place of being creative again, I'm just really eager to just release, you know, especially original songs. So I'm really looking forward to releasing, performing, and yeah, just doing my thing. So
Cool. Well, you're about to do your thing with a cover song, and why don't you
yeah.
tell us what you're gonna sing, why you want to sing this song, what it means to you?
Yeah. So I'm actually going to sing my audition song, which one of them, which is Fire on Fire by Sam Smith. And Sam Smith has been a huge inspiration for me. Like growing up in high school, I remember listening to their first album and being just so amazed by their vocal abilities and their story and who they are. And you know, this song has a really, I guess, um, deep meaning for me, like personally. Music is so universal in so many ways, and like I think like when it comes to Sam Smith, they usually sing about relationships and stuff, but like for this song, it's almost like a self-reflection because there's a line where it says, "You are perfection, my only direction," you know, and stuff, and like sometimes like you know I guess like relationships or just fighting with yourself can be really messy,
Yeah,
and stuff. And so yeah, and it's one of my favorite songs to sing, so I'll be singing that for you guys tonight
that's great. I
or
cannot wait to
whenever you're
hear it.
watching.
Oh my God, yeah, let's get to it.
My mother said I'm too romantic. She said you're dancing in the movies. I only started to believe her. Then I saw you and I knew. Maybe it's 'cause I got a little bit older. Maybe it's all that I've been through. I like to think that's how you lean on my shoulders and how I see myself with you. I don't say a word, but still you take my breath and steal the things I know. There you go, saving me from out of the cold. Fire, oh fire, when normally kill us. This much desire, together we're winners. They say we're out of control and some say we're sinners, but don't let them ruin our beautiful rhythms. 'Cause when you inform me and tell me you love me and look in my eye, 'cause you're perfection, my only direction. It's fire on fire. It's fire on fire. When we fight like lions. And then we love and feel the truth. We lose our minds in a city of roses. We won't abide by any rules. I don't say a word, but still you take my breath and steal the things I know. There you go, saving me from out of the cold. Fire, oh fire, when normally kill us. This much desire, together we're winners. They say we're out of control and some say we're sinners, but don't let them ruin our beautiful rhythms. 'Cause when you inform me and tell me you love me and look in my eye, 'cause you are perfection, my only direction. It's fire on fire. It's fire on fire. Fire on fire would normally kill us. This much desire, together we're winners. They say we're out of control and some say we're sinners. Don't let them ruin our beautiful rhythms. Fire, oh fire, will normally kill us. This much desire, together we're winners. They say we're out of control and some say we're sinners. Don't let them ruin our beautiful rhythms. Cause when you unfold me and tell me you love me and look in my eye, cause you are perfection, my only direction. It's fire on fire. You are perfection, my only direction. It's fire on fire. Fire.
Oh, dude, that was
Thank you.
beautiful. Oh my God. God, can I
Thank
just be so
you.
honest right now? Like it's
Yeah.
I'm just I don't know. I'm shocked like cuz we didn't see you on the show. We didn't get to hear this voice. Like that it's surprising. I mean, I know it's we've been through the process, it was difficult at times
Yeah.
to deal with it, but I mean that as much of a compliment as I can because that was truly moving. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Thank you. I really appreciate it so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you told us why you sang that song because I feel like knowing that like you really care about it, you really care about Sam Smith and who they are as an
Yeah.
artist. I mean, that's cool too because I really like knowing
hmm
what a song means to you and hearing the passion in your voice, knowing that yes, you're a talented vocalist, but it comes from a place that means something to you.
Thank you. No, that song really does mean a lot and speak volumes. So, this is an artist that really does bring me so many emotions. So, yeah.
Any other artists that you consider any major influences on you?
Yeah. I grew up loving Michael Jackson. Just like watching him perform was so moving, and like he brought so much energy and the passion in his voice, and his voice was just so unique. Growing up, I really loved listening to his records, um, listening to him in Jackson 5 and just his single records and stuff, and listening to like Bruno Mars and the 90s divas like Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Celine Dion. Um, a lot of powerhouse vocalists really inspired me to um, sing the repertoire that I ended up enjoying and loving, and just by listening to those artists. So yeah, they really influenced me soulfully, and just like the power and passion that they put into their work is very inspiring. So yeah.
So what's coming up for you? I mean, I want to hear a little more about the projects. I want to whatever you want to tell us about, what you're up to.
Yeah, I have management now, and our plan is to release more songs, write more songs, and perform more. And I'm with artist development too, so I guess more artist development as well. But I'm actually heading over to the Philippines really soon, and I'm gonna be performing there very soon for the first time, which I'm really like psyched for. So that's exciting, especially just because um, I'm Filipino, and that's a huge part of who I am, and being able to like share my gift um over there and perform there, it's gonna be really cool. So I'm really looking forward to doing that.
Wow.
But yeah, like I have original songs in the works, and then releasing covers, doing more content on like social media. And actually, I don't know if you know this person, but do you know a vocal coach named Cheryl Porter
Mm-mm.
by any chance? Do
No.
you know there's this girl who got really viral, um, and there was like this viral sound where it's like noom 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 noom, and like that vocal exercise like got over like 250 million views on
Wow.
TikTok. And there's the little girl, her name is Liamani, but the teacher, Cheryl Porter, she's a vocal coach on social media, and she does lessons with her students and stuff. And so I'm eventually going to go to Chicago and film a video with her where she's gonna be doing a lesson with me and helping me navigate through the songs that I'm singing, and help me technique wise and like, what I can work on. So I'm really excited for that, especially the fact that she's doing a lot of big things. She just finished recording a movie, or filming a movie, and she has like so many followers on like social media, and like I think on YouTube she has like 5 million subscribers or something like that. It's crazy. So I'm like really honored and super excited to meet her and getting to sing for her and having her mentor me. So
Wow.
I'm really excited for that. Yeah.
You mentioned artist development. I know that that's probably such a thorough process, and we could talk all day about that.
Yeah.
But if there just is like one or two things, what benefits you the most about having people with you to help develop you?
I think the one thing that I can say that really has helped me is people believing in me,
Mm,
believing in my craft, and believing in the potential that I have, because I think that's important when you're working with a team. They need to believe in your vision and who you are as an artist, and they need to support you 100%. Otherwise it's not going to work. Once I do record in the studio and everything, there'll just be a lot more things, I guess, in terms of performances and like releases and stuff. But I'm really wanting to take my time with the projects that I'm releasing, especially original wise, just because I feel like in the past I have rushed things.
mm,
And the thing is, like, art is something that shouldn't be rushed, you know?
mm-hmm.
So, and it doesn't need to be like, so I'm really gonna take my time to, perfect everything. And um I'm finally getting to be in a space where I'm being able to sing songs that I'm really passionate about, and being able to release records that I'm passionate about. So I'm really looking forward to releasing and I guess witnessing what people have to say, because I feel like in the last 2 to 3 years I've gone through a lot of things, and I'm ready to share that with my followers and just everyone that's listening. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so great that you can take that and put it in the music. Anything that you've been through, ups, downs, because it's
Yeah.
storytelling, and to be able to capture whatever it is that you've been through in a longer period of time in a 3-minute song or even a series of songs. I mean, that's really cool.
Thank you. No, thank you so much. I it's just like music just gives me such a rush, and it's like I feel like there's so much that I just want to say and do, and I'm just really excited to see what happens with my music and where it takes me. But regardless of what happens, I'm always gonna have it with me, and that's something that I'll forever be grateful. And the fact that I've been, impacting people with like my covers and my original songs, already, that's a huge um thing for me that I really um am grateful for and thankful, just for all the support that a lot of people have been giving me and just believing in me, because I never truly like really thought that it was possible, especially growing up in like a small city. So like never that I think that I would have people come across my videos and stuff. So I'm really very honored and very blessed.
Mm. Isn't it crazy how we all kind of go through these periods of trying to figure out how to believe in ourselves? It's wild for me to also hear that you go through that because I listen to that and I'm like, wow, those are some pipes right there.
Oh,
And
thank
I,
you.
and
I
I say that to be
appreciate it.
nice. I don't want to just be. I
Yeah.
don't want to just pat you on the back
No,
here.
thank
Yeah.
you. No, it means a lot, because I mean, I think like a lot of people it's crazy, because that's why I appreciate podcasts like yours and you know, getting to share our truth in the behind the scenes of what happens, because I think a lot of people, like especially when it comes to like really big celebrities, you know, and once you have a platform, like everybody thinks it's like glitz and glamour and stuff, but it's so interesting to hear like what people feel behind the screen, you know, and stuff, and like what the pressures that they deal with, and with mental health especially, that's a huge thing. So you know, I think it's important to share that. And when it comes to music and like what I've seen, um with how I see music and stuff, I think music is all about vulnerability, and it's all about being honest, you know,
Yeah.
and being able to share these feelings, even if it's really hard. And you know, they're very sensitive topics to talk about. It needs to be talked about, you know. And I think we need people, more people like that, to speak on their experiences with life, and like, you know, just normalizing not being okay, you know, and self-care.
Mm.
And you know, especially coming from a male's perspective too, because a lot of the time, like, we live in this industry where like a lot of it, there's just a lot of like toxic masculinity going on. And I think like I've had like struggles with that growing up, especially like coming out with my sexuality. And then, you know, being in a city that there wasn't much of me, you know, it was hard to fit in and stuff. So I think like, you know, I'm really thankful to have an outlet that has given me my voice that I've been looking for, you know, because like high school, Raymond needed to be mothered and
Mm.
needed to, you know, find that voice, that inner voice. And so I'm just really happy that I've been able to do it in a way that's healthy and that is impacting other people, you know. So like I said, like I'm just really grateful for anything that's happened and that I've experienced so far, and I'm just really excited to do more things with my music and my talent that I'm grateful for.
I'm literally on the fence between like wrapping up at such a pivotal great moment to kind of we had such a that's
Yeah.
such a like great note to end on, but then I also am like then I want to open the gates further on like mental health and toxic masculinity because high school Bennett
Yeah.
dealing with his toxic masculinity issues and other mental health things, it's like we could talk all day about that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We'll set up a call like, and like and not, it'll be off aired and
Yeah.
just
Sorry,
like
guys. Sorry that you have to miss out. We'll discuss
mhm.
all of our important hot button non American Idol topics off the air.
Yes. Yes,
So,
we will. We will. We
yeah.
definitely we will. 100%.
Well, Raymond, we talked about a lot of stuff here. We talked about American Idol. We talked about kind of
Mhm.
just life, the human experience, and how music kind of all centers around that. And it was really a pleasure. So, for anybody who's not already following you, who wants to stay in touch with you, who wants to follow your journey, where can they go to make sure that they keep up to date?
They can go on Instagram and TikTok under the Raymond Salgado, and everything that has to do with YouTube or streaming services like Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon. It's just under my first and last name. So everything else, yeah, you'll be able to find, even if you just search my first and last name, you'll be able to find me easy.
Cool. Well, if you guys want to find out more about this podcast, if this is the first time you're listening, or if you're a fan, thank you guys so much for listening or watching. Now, if you're listening and you're on Apple Podcast or Spotify, wherever, make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure that you leave a rating, a review. If you're on YouTube, subscribe and follow us on Instagram or TikTok at Idol Unaired Podcast. So, guys, thank you so much for listening to American Idol Unaired. And Raymond, thank you so much for being a part of American Idol Unaired.
Thank you so much for having me, Bennett. You have no idea, like, how excited I was to be a part of this, and I'm really happy that I got to share my story with you and with all the listeners that are going to be watching this and listening to this. So,
Dude, I was so excited you reached out. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. Have an amazing day.
thank you. Bye.